Hi, this is Mike. I'm going to take you through our Alaskan vacation we took in early June of 2018. We flew out of Fort Myers into Minneapolis, had a short layover, and then from Minneapolis we flew into Anchorage, Alaska. The leg from Minneapolis to Anchorage is quite picturesque. It's worth the window seat to see the glaciers, the mountains, snow-capped mountaintops, very picturesque. When you fly into Anchorage, you will notice that there is 19 hours of sunshine every day this time of year. Anchorage itself is surrounded by water and mountains, very pretty town. And when we arrived there, it was quite late, but we were able to find a rooftop bar where we got a glass of wine, a couple glasses of wine, and some gluten-free pizza. And we're able to gaze at the mountains and the sunset. Our first full day in Alaska, we had a pretty exciting day planned. The men were going to go fishing on a float trip down Willow Creek, which is about an hour and a half from Anchorage. And the women were going to a craft area in Anchorage to make scarves. The drive over to Willow Creek, where we fished, was, again, kind of into the interior. Quite picturesque again. We rented a car, drove in, got on the float trip, fished the river, caught some fish. Here's a picture of one of the leopard trouts that we caught that day. The ladies went to make scarves. The area they went was very picturesque also. They were able to paint on these pieces of fabric and create these scarves while they were there. They were also provided lunch, and we met back at the end of the day and had a great dinner. All aboard! Board the train in Anchorage, and you get off in the Denali village. All your luggage is loaded on the train for you, and it's all carried up there. You don't have to worry about anything. The train itself is very spacious. These cars, you have a great view out of the top. You can see almost everywhere. You get great vistas from any seat. And you also have a dining car underneath. And the dining car is, you have a full meal. The views that you can see on the train you just can't describe them. They're one right after another. Mountains, rivers, streams, forest, birds, animals, moose, bear. You can see almost anything from the window of the train as it goes through the countryside. It's something that you will never forget, and the beauty, you just can't recreate it. You just have to see it for yourself. The pictures don't do them justice, and very much a trip into the wilderness. There are some places where you can see outposts, but for the most part, the train takes you right into the heart of the wilderness, and there's most of the time trees on either side of you, and you have a great view of the mountainsides and everything that's there to see as you go up. After a wonderful train ride, you check into the McKinley Lounge. Good food, and they bring your bags right to your room. You don't need to worry about any of that. They have entertainment. It's a nice little court area there. And the next morning, you get on a bus, and you go into the interior. And you take this one-lane road to see Denali as close as you're going to get. Along the way, there's plenty of stops. Here's a caribou rack that they had you could kind of play with and see what experiences. These are the rest areas, very clean, no bears. But there are bears other places, and you get pretty close to them. This is a cub crossing the river, but the mama bear and whatnot are really close, and they are really big. You don't want to mess with them. Here's a moose and her baby, and the baby didn't make it through the end of the day. These bears here that was their lunch. You're about 4,000 feet above sea level. This is the video inside the bus that you can see, and this is what was up on the hill. They basically magnify it so you get a better picture of it if you can't see it. Out in the view here is just spectacular. The day we went, there were lots of clouds. Another bear crossing the plains there. But antelope, goats, sheep, everything are out here. Lots of wildlife. In the background here is Denali with the top cut off of it. You can see where the clouds are breaking it. This is a real picture of how Denali looks, and Denali is spectacular. The next day, we were able to go fishing, and me and my brother.
That's good looking. Let him go.
It's pretty special. We got to fish for about 3 hours, me and my brother with the guide. This great little stream, and this great view everywhere. There was a great view, just spectacular. We were using fly rods. We were catching these Arctic grayling. They have a big dorsal fin. That's how you can tell what they are. You can see it pronounced here, pulled up. It wasn't too cold. All the gear was provided, so we didn't have to bring anything other than our credit card. Then we loaded up and took a 10-hour bus ride back to Seaward to get on the boat. And along the way, we stopped for some pictures and for some lunch. But then we boarded the Noordam. After getting on the boat, you'll get into your room, and your room will have a queen-size bed in it, along with a sitting area and a veranda deck, and they're veranda rooms. The nice thing about the veranda is we had 5 rooms in a row, and we were able to open up the balcony between all of them and enjoy each other's company.
Hey boys, it's Mama and Peppa. We're walking on the boat. It's really cold. Do you see what we have on? It's not like the clothes we were in Florida, is it?
Yes, we're not in Florida anymore. You have to wear parkas and hats. It's cold. You can still enjoy libations all around the boat, and the best place we found was the Crow's Nest, which looks out forward. You can get a good view of where the boat's headed. It's warm. They serve lots of drinks. They also have a casino on board, and you can do a little gambling. We spent the whole first day at sea, and then we went to Glacier Bay. And there's glaciers all up and down the coast as you go through here. But as you get closer to Glacier Bay, they're more prominent. The glaciers themselves are, we don't do them any justice with these pictures because they are massive. And until you're up close to them, you really can't judge the scale and the scope of them. They're just huge. What you'll see here in some upcoming pictures are pictures of the boat, which is it's a 950-foot boat. It has a 150-foot beam, and it looks very small up to it. And we had our verandas open, as you can see here, and we ran up and down and took pictures, and we were bundled up because it was cold. But the glaciers were spectacular and not to be missed. Here's the Noordam as it was pulling out of Glacier Bay, and we were pulling into it. And you can see how small it looks up next to the glacier itself. And you get pretty close to the glacier. As we swing around here, you will see in pictures of it.
There's one. See,
these glaciers are calving, and you can hear them calve as they break off and fall into the water and create these little icebergs. They have little stratification on them as they fall into the water and break apart. The amazing things about these glaciers is the color. The white and the blue are indescribable. The blue is so vivid. It's like it's got its own light source underneath it. It's quite unique, and again, they're quite huge. The size is indescribable from these pictures. You just can't get the scope of it. After leaving Glacier Bay, we sailed overnight into Haines, Alaska. The next day we got up and there was an opportunity to visit the town of Haines. We went to a conservatory where they had eagles, all kinds of stuffed animals to see how big they really are. A black bear here, moose horns here from the antlers. Also took the opportunity to go fishing, but here's some people kayaking. I was able to go out on a pontoon and catch some Dolly Varden. Here shared one of my Dolly Varden with a younger passenger as we fished. Lots of eagles all the way around. Enjoyed a glass of wine, and then we sailed to Juneau. The morning we arrived in Juneau, we took a visit to the tropical rainforest there, and it's the most northern tropical rainforest there is in the world. And the unique thing about here is the Mendenhall Glacier ice limits are marked as long as along the trail that you walk to the glacier itself through the rainforest. It's quite unique, and there's moss everywhere on the trees, lots of diverse birds and greenery. The glacier itself is enormous. There's a waterfall off to the side here. The pictures, again, do not do the glacier, the scope and scale of it any justice at all. The afternoon we went whale watching, and the whales we were fortunate enough to run into a pod of killer whales here, and you can see them playing in the water. There was a couple of mama whales with their calves, and they were splashing around and having a good time. We spent about 2 hours out on the water. It was quite rough, and everybody that was there got wet, and it was kind of a gray, gloomy day. The next day, we sailed overnight into Ketchikan. While in Ketchikan, we had the best shopping and the best fishing of the entire trip. God had blessed us very richly in the fishing. The best fishing of the whole trip. This was our catch of the day. We maxed out on halibut, and it was absolutely fabulous. The halibut were packed and shipped back in Kentucky by the guide in dry ice. We had to throw quite a few of the halibut back because we had caught more than our limit. Great trip. We went back via the Inside Passage. It was a 1.5-day trip. We ended up docking in Vancouver. And from Vancouver, we flew to Portland, and then we spent with friends a few days on Manzanita Beach. Absolutely fabulous trip overall. From the glaciers to Denali, to the train trip to Denali, to all the great fishing that we had. The graylings, the Dolly Vardens, the leopard trouts, and the halibut, and all the great food that we enjoyed. It was just an overall wonderful trip. Thanks to everyone.